Right. Just to repeat, guys, I've got a cruddy flu, so I will disappear every now and then. I'm pale as well, which is part of the process, I suppose. Right, we're going to carry on from where we finished previously. Um, I I want to spend a bit of time just on this model because this is the kind of thing that I generally would include in an exam. So we started talking about this in the previous recording. So we have to look at the kind of innovations that are driven in businesses from these four P's. And in terms of the four P's, paradigm is that specific mindset that guides how we look at the world. We know that the current paradigm in terms of motor vehicles is that there's a definite shift toward electric vehicles being the future. We know that paradigms shift all the time as a consequence of new innovations. Other paradigms that have shifted in recent times? Sorry, guys, I have to sneeze. Other paradigms that have shifted in recent times? I think paradigms in terms of how we find accommodation certainly moved with Airbnb. Paradigms in terms of how we call taxis shifted with Uber. And I think paradigms that were shifted by Google include things like the view on libraries, the importance of libraries. And we spoke last time about how libraries are now referred to as information centers. Are referred to as information centers. And then updated products and services. I think we have a vast amount of new products. I always think of the advances in AI and where ChatGPT was last year versus where it is now. Last year, it couldn't produce Word documents to save its life. And now it's starting to produce really beautiful Word documents. And the idea of our phones, Mavis, I mean, for me, the fact that you can pay with your phone is astonishing. Ordering food has changed. I think the shift in terms of traditionally having to drive to collect, all of that as a consequence. And it changes everything because it changes the number of people you require, it changes the kind of people you require, how we shop. I think I look at my oldest son who only does checkers 60/60. I don't think he ever does any other form of shopping other than checkers. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I still go to go to shops, but it's a significant shift. And certainly we know that banks have had to adjust because Standard Bank will give you significant refund in terms of your U count points when you shop at checkers 60/60. And so every one of these changes and every new product has a knock on effect. And then the way you position yourself in the market. And I think the reality is that we see that Mercedes-Benz, as a consequence of the Chinese vehicles, have had to reposition themselves. Now, the Chinese vehicles are excellent examples of something called cost innovation. So, what the Chinese are very good at in terms of innovation is how to reduce their input costs. And all of these have a knock on effect. And then, obviously, processes. And for me, the significant shift in terms of the idea of using the examples that you guys have already done is that how we receive goods. I mean, and the changes into the future that the truth is that we will be receiving goods down the line using drones. And again, the knock-on effect in terms of the new skills required. So when we look at products, please just give me a so when we look at products, I think it's changes in what we offer. Um, yeah, and then process in the way we create and deliver those those offerings, and position. I think the context into which the products and services are introduced. So when we think, for example, where Checkers was prior to COVID and the idea of 60/60, it's changed the way in terms of how they are positioning themselves in the market. They are highlighting how more convenient their alternatives are to go to a supermarket. And going to a supermarket is already convenient because all your items are in a single place. And then those mental models, those assumptions about the world. And those assumptions are important. I'm with you, Liam. I quite like going into a store. I don't know, but the truth is my 60/60 is played up, and I've not bothered to put my virtual credit card in because, like a silly Billy, I saved the card, including the the three letters that are on the back of the card. So, and those change all the time when you use a virtual card. But the reality is, it's a new way of doing things. And for some people, in particular, people who don't drive, and particularly people who don't have vehicles and don't want to pay for Uber, Checker 60/60 is excellent. And in particular, people who are older, who are not capable of driving anymore. My brain is too tired. It's those when you flip your card over the 3-digit number. Oh, my number is 102, boy. So the CVV. Thank you. Couldn't remember. Well, it is. I mean, with a toddler, it's 100% easier. But it shows us how these innovations change our lives and our expectations. And to just say, if you with Standard Bank, you have the potential on you count of getting back 40% of 40% of your pay. Apologies for that, guys. My fiber dropped again. This is so frustrating. I cannot share that with you back onto my modem. I should just work on the modem all the time. Sorry about that. Wasn't blowing my nose. My fiber dropped completely. Back on. My apologies. I don't know if I'm still recording. Can I just see if I am? Okay, I am recording. Yeah, sorry. I was very close to that, though. Boy, I should have taken the opportunity. So, in terms of product, and we can see some of the advances there. And then in terms of the process, and we know that this is the way we get and create products, and then also we target different people, and it's interesting that advances in terms of cost innovation. So think of the very luxurious vehicles that you get from the Chinese. It is possible for a youngster with an entry level salary to buy a very, very reasonable and very decent vehicle. And the truth is that, oh, sorry, guys. You really think my CVV is 102? I can share the other numbers just now. I'll take a picture of my credit card and share the front and the back, guys. I mean, you guys make my life so easy. It's worth doing that. And I think we start positioning ourselves in terms of different groups because of the advances in technology. And then paradigm shift. I think for me, some of the next paradigm shifts, I believe, will come in the form of changes to our handheld devices, with the belief that handheld devices would disappear completely. Now, what the new format would be, I'm not sure. Um, I'm certainly not the person who would have a chip implanted into my hand, as some people had suggested early on in terms of the future of technology. So I don't know where handheld devices will go. Any suggestions on the future of your phone and handheld devices? Anyone want to suggest where we're going? Will they be in the form of glasses, holographics? Yeah, holographics is definitely going to replace our television. I don't know how far we are in terms of that. It's going to be interesting. And holographics in terms of your phone, that the phone pops out of your hand, there's nothing preventing it other than the fact that you might have to have a chip implanted into your hand. Who here would, glasses definitely, Lucia, nice. Who here would have a chip implanted into under their skin? Who would have a chip implanted? No, I'm with you, Elisna. Daar's nie 'n kans nie. Yeah, imagine driving and there's a hologram of an advert. No ways. Yeah, and I think there's some religious implications as well. Um, well, when they put the COVID jab into you, remember Microsoft was planting microbits in you, so Microsoft knows where you are all the time. Um, it's a strange one where the future of that is. So, in terms of the kinds of innovations, I think it's always about risk and reward because, first of all, it is about trying to innovate as much as possible, but also prioritizing innovations because you cannot spread yourself too thin. And I think the risks with spreading yourself too thin is that all of a sudden you have not got the resources to balance those. Absolutely. Subscription fees for sitting and eating. It's not impossible. I mean, the shifts are so significant. Yeah, true, true, true. So in terms of that, I mean, yeah, everyone here with 60/60 is paying, I don't know, is it 90 Rand a month? I'm paying towards Take a Lot also per month. And those risks and rewards are important because the moment you expose yourself too significantly to risk, it is potentially possible that your competitors can jump in and see that as a weakness. Meals in the form of a pill, yeah, absolutely. Why? I mean, we're very close to that already. I mean, think of the shift in terms of weight loss that Ozempic brought us. So, for me, weight loss is balancing eating and exercise. Now you just shove a needle into you, and you end up looking like, well, yeah, I'm not going to say who, but you end up looking. It definitely has an Ozempic face to it. There's definitely an Ozempic face to it. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't want to say Ariana Grande because I actually am a big fan, but she has the Ozempic face. The Osbournes, the mom Osbourne and the daughter Osbourne, also has the Ozempic face. I don't know if you guys had seen them recently. I have a colleague who is on Ozempic, and she's lost a good 30 kgs. But the problem is now, how do you stay off Ozempic? And for me, all these things are just shifts. I now see that you've got GLP and other stuff. Surely, yeah. Sorry, I mean, I don't really struggle. Appetite suppressants. It makes them look absolutely awful. You're right, Kyle. Anyone here on Ozempic consider? Okay, anyone here believe that they're overweight and are desperate? Kyle, you. I think you're on Olympic or something. You definitely don't need it either. Anyone here overweight and thought they GLP? Yeah, I saw that and I see it advertising, but when you see stuff on social media that GLP-1 is, I'm nervous about that. I think there are better ways of doing it. There must be better ways of doing that. Anyone here struggle with their weight and would be and doesn't mean you're overweight. I think first of all, I'm not asking you to suggest that you're overweight, but generally people who struggle for a long time, hey? Yeah, that used to be my problem. It's not a problem anymore. Yeah, that used to be my problem as well. I just couldn't put on weight. There must be an opposite to Ozempic. I don't know what that would be. Yeah, I don't know. I think people who are skinny sometimes get as desperate as people who are overweight. In particular, when you cannot put on weight. Please just give me a second. Sorry, I didn't mute myself quick enough. My apologies for that. So, in terms of how do we choose projects, I think the first one is the idea of gut feel. I think sometimes people who have been in an industry and have seen the lie of the land and have an acute understanding of what customers want and what customers don't want, there are so many alternatives available that sometimes gut feel is essential. That you have to. I see weight fluctuations. Yeah, oh shucks, Elizabeth. Yeah, I mean having kiddies will do that. It is a real challenge. But neither of you are overweight, so I don't know why you guys are typing. This is just Elizabeth and Fanaz looking for it for attention. Uh, uh, Liam, who does can't put on weight, giving advice on how to lose weight. Okay, guys, I think the reality is that gut feel is still a significant part of it. Give me examples where gut feel has served you well. Give me examples of where gut feel has served you well. Okay, let's ask it the other way. Give me examples where gut feel, staying out of crypto. That's a very good gut feel, that boy. That's a very good gut feel, that. That's plus 50%, Kyle. It's intuition, and obviously women have intuition. where gut feel has steered you wrong, where gut feel has steered you wrong. Because I think sometimes gut feel has that same ability in organizations that it could cause real headaches. But yeah, I think gut feel is still a big part of what makes businesses. Um, Getting a German car, shucks, is it German? Are German cars not good? Yeah, no, well, that's the one I was waiting for because we base so much in relationships on gut feel, and it sometimes is a real problem. I'm assuming you're doing fantastic in the other. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And Ozempic, I see that. Okay, I'm moving on from gut feel. Guys, and then just and those of you that did undergrad with us will remember there is that future value in terms of money. You would have done it in other degrees as well, and the payback period, etc. And that's those financial measures where you look at your initial investment, you look at anticipated income, and you look at the completion of the closing down the project costs. I don't know if anyone remembers. Yeah, opportunity cost is there as well. Does anyone remember net present value, the calculation of net present value? One of the deep, dark secrets that I have is that I did a finance module as part of my master's. So I know something. Guys, and then just a variety of measures. And I think here you look at potentials in terms of um, customer acceptance, changes to our production, the ability to access inputs from our suppliers, and having that kind of matrix feel of whether something would work or not. The problem with everything, though, is it's impossible to always anticipate, and people want to try and do it quantitatively, but there will always be this little thing involved, this little thing, that gut feel. And then just having your businesses portfolios sort of balanced, in terms of old products, existing products, new products, and trying to balance the percentage of how many out there brand new products do we need versus how many existing products can we update, and then how many of our older products can we hang on to simply because we want to still accommodate the late adopters and also those kind of late adopters who have been brand loyal. And now some of the headaches. I think sometimes this idea of path dependency has a real risk for organizations. I think, first of all, path dependency is that you've done business in a particular way for a long period of time. You've invested significant amounts of money, and you also believe that your resources and your knowledge internal to the organization will always be enough to create products that will impress your customers. And path dependency is important because we learn from the past, we know what we're good at. The danger with path dependency is when you forget that the world has moved on beyond what you were very good at, as per we've seen with multiple examples, including Nokia. Nokia, who believed the future was about the push button phone, and they had invested so much money in there, and it became a real headache. And I think we saw where Nokia is now. In terms of where we are in an organization, it's always going to be in terms of broader systems. And I think we always have to look at where the competition is and where we will find a niche in terms of that competition. Um, Give me examples of new companies that have arrived and have found a niche that works for themselves. And I don't want to go to the Chinese vehicles because there's so many new brands that arrive all the time and they seem to all do okay. Give me examples of a company, new arrivals on the scene into an industry that are doing really well. Companies that all of a sudden decided to add an additional division, and then go into an industry. And remember the thinking there, it's that red ocean industry where there are lots of existing competitors. Which company is very good? Which one is that? SNDK. Liam, can I search for that? Hold on, I'll search for that. SNDK. And what do they do, Boya? No, the company. I didn't know it as SNDK though. And what area did they enter into? Oh, I see. For or flash memory for AI. Very, very nice. South African, yeah. South African companies. For me, the one company that I'm always impressed with is Mr. Price. In South Africa, Mr. Price has the ability to go into existing industries and survive. If you see where Mr. Price is with their different divisions, initially clothes, and then from there to other bits and pieces. And where is the, I just want to go divisions. But every time I see there's, and I don't know how long they've been around. Well, sorry, Sandra, that's the one I'm using. And I see that there's a Mr. Price baby now. I don't know if that's been around for a while. It's interesting, Liam, with Crazy Store. We have something in Pietermaritzburg very similar to Crazy Store, Bargain Baskets. And my wife told me because it's owned by one of my students' parents, and one of my wife told me today that they've actually closed down. So now you see now it's not on here yet, but I saw that there's um, Mr. Price baby or children. I did see that recently. There is a new Mr. Price. I know that there's a new launch. Why did I think there was a new Mr. Price, guys? I'm obviously losing my mind. There was a Mr. Price baby, wasn't there? Mr. Price kids. Oh, thank you for that, Nosipo. So that is new. Okay. Mr. Price kids. Okay. No, there was a Mr. Price baby as well. So remember, whenever you shop at Mr. Price, please just mention my name. Unique is Mr. Price is Checkers clothing. Yeah, little me. Oh my gosh! And then unique is Checkers. I mean Checkers. But it's a wonderful example of entering into an existing industry and surviving. Mr. Price is really good at getting into a feeding frenzy and surviving. Yeah. So unique is but it is a high end it is a high end store, guys. It is a high end store. So if you look at their prices, they aren't cheap. Anyone here shop at Unique or has have shopped at Unique? Because my understanding is that they're slightly more expensive than other. Let's go look at their spring sale. They are overpriced. That's what I thought. And I've not been in one, but my colleagues tell me that they are very expensive. But they also have indicated that they are differentiated. Linen collar top 599. Is that 499 Rand? No, man. Linen mini dress, eight, that's $900. You see, I don't know what clothes cost. Linen textured pants. Okay. Sorry, let me go see if I can find something for myself here. Um, See, I don't know what the prices are, guys. Deck shorts, 2.99. And do they have specials as well? But it's a wonderful example of a company that is able to go into an existing industry. I don't know what their sales are and how they're performing. So in terms of deciding how to compete and where to compete, generally you start with the competitive forces. Who remembers Porter's five forces? The five competitive forces. Those forces determine how easy or how difficult it is to compete in a particular industry. Very, very cool. There'll be lots of baby stores as well. Hey, my gosh. Thanks for that, Kyle. Guys, in terms of the competitive forces, who remembers these? You should remember it if you've done the undergrad with us and if you've done business management third year. Should know this. Remember, power of competitors, power of suppliers, power. Come on, guys. Power of customers. Come on, guys. Power and potential new entrants. Yes, new entries. And then substitute products. You should know this, guys. And then how difficult is it to get into an industry? And one of the challenges with going into a new industry, that's the one. Thank you, Sandra. The challenge with going into a new industry is that often the existing competitors are going to react and will make your life very difficult. That's why I always am so impressed with Mr. Price and Checkers themselves. And then threats from substitutes. I think you guys know what substitutes are. A product that does something similar. Sorry, hold on a second. So for me, I'm not an energy drink person. It is very big, Kyle. I mean, yeah, lower middle income class, Mr. Price is going to be very big. I can't remember when last I bought clothes. I think I tend to buy clothes once a year, but I've got so much clothes, and that's also the problem. Most people have too much clothes. Oh my word. Yeah, what parents will pay for at these baby stores. Nice, Kyle. Guys, substitutes. Give me a substitute for taxis, for combi taxis. Yeah, absolutely Uber. So they're not in direct contact competition with them. They certainly are a substitute. I mean, in terms of taxis themselves, the competition are other taxis, guys, and then just also those five forces. What is one or two? One or two? I've never heard of it. One or two. Oh my gosh. One or two near me oral too. So is this an Afrikaans version, guys? One or two. I'm missing the point, man. One or two. Ach, genigtig, man. One or two. And only Afrikaans drivers. And so only Afrikaans customers as well. Oh, I like that, guys. I quite like this form of apartheid. Hopefully, it's a joke before someone rushes off to go and report me. Do you think they operate in Pietermaritzburg? Um, Oh my gosh. I didn't even know they, I don't even realize they existed. Varna too. Oh my goodness. And the Free State. I don't think they're here. I don't think they're here. Oh my goodness. Varna too. Well, in die toekoms is dit al wat ek gaan gebruik. The rest of you can catch your own stuff. No, see, Paul, I'm not going to read that out loud. Yeah, so true. People who listen to the recording will have to guess what you've just typed in. Sorry. Not for long, no, Sipo, not for long. I can't even say anything more. Guys, so in terms of the strategic posture, and it's quite interesting that the idea of first mover advantage applies here. You get certain companies who want to be the first in an industry to introduce new products and sometimes introduce completely new industries. So the first mover would be Google. The first mover would be Google. And if you think of what Google did as being the first mover, since then, everyone has tried to play catch up. And the fact that Google is still in the dictionary, you don't see Bing as an alternative in the dictionary. The other interesting one was Hoover back in the day. And we don't see any other vacuum cleaner mentioned in in a dictionary. So Hoover is another. Dyson is very big. Is Dyson in the dictionary as a term? Dyson is expensive, though, guys. Dyson is expensive. I wonder if Dyson appears in the dictionary. Dyson in dictionary? Not all of them. Okay. Okay. No. So it's not in your sort of more traditional dictionaries. But you don't read dictionary. Well, I've read some of your assignments. It's very clear that you don't read dictionaries. Liam, Liam, it's just a joke before you rush off. Sorry, boy. I'm a bully. And then the fast follower. And then the fast Tanika. What the heck? What are you guys putting up here? I'm busy typing stuff in here, and one of these days, with these new products that you guys are mentioning, I'm going to type something and it's going to cause me trouble. Tineco and a Tinyco. Misspelled that Tineco. Oh dear. I should be very careful now. Oh, it's a vacuum cleaner as well. 3,000, 4,000 rand for a vacuum cleaner. How much do you guys get paid? 4,000 rand is all my appliances in the house. And shark vacuums I see there as well. Then you get the fast follower, and often the fast follower would be your Chinese type of brands. The Chinese are very good at copying what other people do. And yes, it will change over time. And I think that we will get to a point that the Chinese will be first movers. But at this point, they are fast followers. So these are companies that watch what competitors do and then jump on the bandwagon the moment that particular innovation is out there. The nice thing about the first mover is that often when you create a brand new industry, you set the standards in that industry. And the danger with the first mover is often that you are stepping into the dark all the time. So you like a pathfinder, but as the pathfinder, you start creating the best practices. Well, that's exactly it. And I always find that interesting, Liam, and it's a valuable point that I always find it interesting that you have the Chinese manufacture your items. How much do you share with them in terms of design, in terms of technology, in terms of things that they could easily go and copy? It is very, very risky, but they do make everything. Sorry, please give me a. And then strategy implementation. And I think this is where the glimmer in the eye idea becomes something that appears on a shelf somewhere, that appears in a store somewhere. And I think the reality is that it is about getting your production line sorted. It is about getting the right resources. It is about getting the right suppliers. Remember, most large brands are assemblers, they're not manufacturers. So when you have assemblers, you need factories who will be your suppliers so that you can simply just Lego block together the different items. So, in terms of how we have strategy at different levels, I think the first thing is, please hold on a second again. I think in terms of the vision, I think if we look at the big companies, and I'm going to look at some of the tech companies. I think everything starts and finishes with a vision. So if we look at Apple's vision statement, okay, and it's interesting because when your vision statement is, we believe that we're on the face of the earth to make great products, and that's not changing. It means that you have to support it with those principles. And it means that everything is about innovation. Everything is about pushing and driving the idea of new concepts because so many other people are making new and really good products. Google's vision. Okay. And again, so the reality is that there has to be an indication in there about the innovation. And the idea of access to the world's information in one click means that you are driving innovation all the time. So everything starts and finishes with your vision statement. And then you need to make sure that in addition to having that vision, that you discuss it, you communicate it, you share it, and the senior managers need to walk the and that your senior managers walk the talk. So they must live every day in ensuring that people understand that they empower and give opportunities and allow people to question the status quo and will fund projects. And then the idea that the entire workforce is involved. And remember, Kaizen, the small ongoing updates, and then policy deployment. And I think the reality in terms of policy deployment is that you have to have policies that allow employees to question, that allow employees to push the boundaries, that allow employees to even make recommendations about canceling products that they believe are coming dated. And then, guys, dynamic capability. Yeah. So, what dynamic capability allows you to do is it allows you to remain relevant. It allows you to update. It allows you to reinvent yourself. And when we think of companies who don't have dynamic capability, certainly Google has to fall into that category. I don't believe that, not Google, Nokia has to fall into that category. A company with wonderful dynamic capability has to be Amazon. If you think where Amazon started and basically delivering books through using the internet and courier services, if you think of Amazon's uh, Sorry, guys. I want to see the specifics. No, it's not giving me enough here. But think of what Amazon was. These Amazon Web Servers, every bit of AI will run on an Amazon Web Server. It is significant amounts of money. And then you think of all the additional divisions. Okay, guys, that's the end of that learning unit. I'm so sorry that it's been a little bit wobbly. I'm going to stop now because I've got my face